This is the last video you'll ever have to watch about SMMA. I'm actually in this video going to help you pick a niche, build an offer, do outreach, and do sales and scale it with systems all within this one video. This is the last thing you're ever gonna have to watch. So guys, please make sure to watch till the end so you get the full value of this training. That's enough intro for now. If you like the video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell because it's free and it really helps me. Let's jump right into the video. So you guys are gonna have to deal with my side profile for the remainder of the video. So let's get right into it, guys. I have a mini presentation I want to share with you how to start a six-figure SMMA in just 10 minutes using the B.O.S.S framework, okay? This is a framework that over 100 people so far have already used to make their first couple clients with their agency, and I'm gonna jump right into it. What we're gonna be talking about today is building unique selling points, standing out, avoiding trigger words in your outreach, and also protecting the quality of your service without being judged and getting hate while prospecting. Then we're gonna get into outreach, why cold outreach and setting appointments is the only way you'll get new clients. We're gonna show off the results, so you some actual case studies, some results for real. And then we're gonna talk about systems and processes. And then lastly, taking action. So jumping right into the beginning, we're gonna talk about niches. I got some pros and cons here just for the contracting space and the medical niche. We're gonna get into some other ones too, but just for these two, for contractors, the pros, they're super loyal. Like if you close one, you do a really good job, they're gonna stay with you for a long time. It's also very easy to do outreach. A lot of times, you will run into gatekeepers, but it doesn't even matter. The gatekeepers are irrelevant because you should skip them. If you're ever gonna talk to a gatekeeper, literally hang up the phone and move on because you're never gonna get through. So other than that though, you will get in front of the contractors that do need your help that aren't that established yet. So easy outreach. They are loyal if you do a good job, and they're very easy to fulfill because typically, like for example, if I'm working with a plumber and the toilet's not working, there's not a lot of sales involved there. It's just about like getting leads. Typically we'll do that through Google, people that have search intent that really need that job right then and there. So easy to fulfill. The cons of contractors though, is that there is a high show rate. There's a high no-show rate and they're harder to close. So typically, because they do work on like an emergency basis, at least for the plumbers, for example, like sometimes they'll be not in an office environment where they can just hop on a Zoom and take a call, right? Same thing with the roofers. They're on a freaking roof somewhere, so the show rate is very low, compared to some other niches. So they're harder to close. There is a lower show rate, which makes it difficult. But if you can close them, they are loyal and they are easier to fulfill than other niches, at least in my experience. Now for the medical niche, they're easy to close. They have more to invest unless they're like a med spa. Because like, for example, I just had a student sign up with like a surgeon. They do like cosmetic surgery, plastic surgery. They have more to invest and they are easier to close because there's not a lot of people going after them unless it's med spa. But med spa doesn't necessarily make it saturated. I'm going to talk about that too. But the cons of medical, I'd probably say like harder to do outreach because there typically is a gatekeeper, then an office manager, and then the actual doctor. It's a little bit different for chiropractors too, but it all depends. In my experience, it is a little bit harder to do outreach and it is a little bit harder to fulfill unless it's med spa too, because med spa typically is a little bit easier to fulfill rather than like getting like a BBL or some kind of cosmetic surgery, right? So pros and cons for those. I want to also talk about real estate. Pros, show rate is very good. They're in an office environment. This also goes, for like insurance, solar too. Typically they're in an office, right? So the show rate is good. Easy outreach. Real estate agents, insurance agents, typically they will put their, cell phone numbers out there. They're always on their cell phone. It's kind of like a meme. And it's also easy to fulfill. It's easier to get results, but you got to be there to, assist them with scheduling appointments because in my experience, they're just not good at it. So it is easy to fulfill if you control the entire pipeline. The cons though is that they are ruthless, man. I've done outreach in a lot of niches, but real estate is one of those niches where like they'll roast you on the phone. Like they'll do crazy stuff. They'll troll you. So yeah, it's a little bit harder to close for that reason. You got to be a little bit more seasoned, I feel like, or willing to deal with the criticism in the beginning. So it's a little bit tougher in that area. And then I wanted to do like a unique one, which obviously you can find unique ones out there, but typically for any unique niches, right, that not a lot of people are in. For example, it's going to be tow truck companies. So easy to do outreach because there's not a lot of competition. not as saturated, right? There's not as many people. And it is easy to fulfill mostly. And I say that because, for example, tow truck companies, if I do a call only ad on Google, yeah, I'm going to get very good results. So it's pretty easy to fulfill, I guess, in my, example here. But most of the time I would say that is the case because there's just not a lot of competition there. And then cons. There's not a lot of previous results, and you're probably going to run into issues that you've never seen before. This just recently happened to me on a credit repair offer. It was so easy to fulfill. It was like a unique one, but like I didn't know that most of them just are not that good at like creating an offer and selling their actual service. So that was like unmarked territory. I wasn't expecting that. So, some pros and cons, but if you're doing a unique one, hopefully, you have a little bit of background so, you can navigate. But the truth is the niche does not matter. It doesn't. I've done so many niches that I don't know anything about. All I need to really know is their sales cycle and a little bit about their sales process as far as like qualifying leads and what counts as a qualified lead for them. The truth is niche does not matter. And I also want to pull up a whiteboard really quick and show you guys how to build an offer based on the niche. So let's get right into that. Okay, so I'm going to use a whiteboard here. I'm going to just kind of draw it out, but this is usually what most agencies do, right? So when they create an offer, it's always going to be something like this, right? Hey, what's up? I'm an agency and I work with businesses like you, and we do one of the following things. What do they always say? They say Facebook. They say qualified appointments. They say SaaS, SEO. What else do you guys say? Like web design, right? Or whatever the thing is. So when you do outreach, it's like, hey, what's up? I'm an agency and I work with businesses like you, and we do one of these things. Please work with me. And it sucks because you're coming from a place of desperation almost, and you're not really standing out when you do this. So they think just by doing like, I'll send you qualified appointments guaranteed or your money back, and I send you $1,000 and I'll give you a foot massage. They think that is a good offer. And I mean, there is truth to that. Obviously, yes, that, being clear on what you're selling makes a good offer, but like, you don't have to go above and beyond just to stand out and make a good offer. I'm going to show you something maybe that you've never seen before, but this is the formula that I use. And so I have 100 people in my B.O.S.S program to, first of all, stand out, but also control the quality of the service. So let me explain. So rather than doing it the way that we just explained above, what we're going to be doing is using our clients' desired prospects as a way to get through the door. So just bear with me. Let's just do real estate for the example. So if I'm doing, let's say a mortgage loan officer, who are the desired prospects for a loan officer? Well, typically it's typically somebody that's interested in, owning a home. So, a future homeowner, we'll put future right there. What else? We also know that they typically have access to financing, which means they have like good credit, right? They can get financing. And maybe something like income, they have good credit, but they also need that income. So let's just say good income. And that's obviously there might be a little bit more to that, but let's just put this for now. You get the example, right? So these are the qualifications for a qualified lead to a loan officer. So watch what I'm about to do here. Rather than going directly and saying, I work with businesses like you, we're going to say something like, I work with future homeowners who have access to financing and have good income, but I don't have anybody to send them to. And that's why I was calling you. I just wanted to send you some information on that. That's it. So I work with your desired prospects and I don't have anybody to send them to. So a lot of people are going to be like, wait, Daniel, like that sounds cool and all, but like, what if I don't actually work with them? Like, I don't want to be lying at the same time. Okay, good point. Good point. But before I get to that, I do want to also talk about the unique selling point and explain how you're going to stand out, and also how you're going to control or keep the quality of your service without being judged. So I'm just going to use these examples. So for example, let's do AI, right? All of these unique selling points, we're going to plug in right here into the formula. So let's say it's AI. Hey, so I have this AI tool that generates inquiries with future homeowners that have good income and access to financing, but I don't have anyone to send them to. Another example is referral network. This is one that I use for real estate because they love the word referrals and everybody's seen me do it on YouTube. So that's kind of what I did back in the day when I did that niche. So I would say, hey, I have this network of future homeowners who have access to financing and good income, but I don't have anybody to send them to, right? You could also do like a website. I have this website that generates inquiries. I have this system or process, right? You're starting to get the point. But basically, if everybody had a unique selling point, everybody would be a millionaire and have a six-pack. But that's just not the case. So there's technically infinite, right, unique selling points. I'm just showing you 4 main ones that really like just make sense for my students, right, that have like gone through this framework and made money from it. So I just show you guys those examples so it kind of makes sense. But obviously, yes, there's endless amounts of unique selling points. So that's kind of the formula. But again, that's cool and all. And like, I understand how I can use this unique selling point as an angle to get my foot in the door, but I don't want to lie to them. You know, like obviously, like I don't want to lie to people, and I totally get where you're coming from. But all we're going to say here is I just want to send you some information. I'm not looking for your money. I'm not looking for your time to set an appointment. I'm just saying, hey, I work with these people that you could potentially work with. Do you want to see some information? That way, I'm not saying any trigger words, right? I'm not saying Facebook. I'm not saying qualified appointments. I'm not saying guaranteed. I'm not saying, you know, agency, marketing, any of these lead gen trigger words, right? So I'm standing out because I'm saying something new, but I'm also protecting the quality of my service, because if I tell somebody, hey, I do Facebook ads, they might be able to say, oh, well, I hate Facebook ads. But if you tell them, hey, I have this AI tool, I have this website, I have this system that generates inquiries with your desired prospects, what are they going to say? It sucks? They've never heard of it, right? So it controls the quality of your service without being judged right away with the trigger words. And you also stand out, right? So if you guys have any questions on this, please write down in the chat, or excuse me, in the comments. Just drop a comment if you have any questions on this. I have a super small community, so just message me or in the comments and I'll get back to you if you have any questions on that. But I do want to show you this example, right? So how do we not lie? So let's say I use the referral network thing, right? I send them to a landing page. First thing they see, HVAC companies. How we get this result? Guaranteed, right? And then they see HVAC referral network. What the heck? And you can see it's a video of me. And I'm just like, hey, what's up, guys? Thank you so much for clicking and watching this video. If you're here, it's probably because I called you. Real quick, I am an agency. But before you click away, when I first started, I was like most leeches. I mean marketers. I loved being a marketer, but I didn't really understand what I was doing. And then you talk about like this epiphany. And you're like, here's what I used to do. I used to run crazy Facebook ads to a freaking generic lead form and then try to get them to book an appointment. But here's the problem with that method. You get a ton of no-shows, a ton of tire kickers. People don't even remember filling out the form, right? So I'm talking about the pain points of most agencies. But then I'm like, but now what we do is we run ads to our referral network, or we run ads to our AI. We run ads through our system, and we get a much different result. So I'm still saying that we run ads, but while using this unique selling point as an angle, I'm running ads to this website, and the website has a form that gets, you know, a lot of high quality surveys. Or I run ads to this AI tool that, you know, qualifies them. I run ads to this process or system. You see what I'm saying? There's infinite ways. I have this software that generates inquiries. Whatever you want to say, you get it. And this is how we position ourselves. So hopefully that made sense. Now I want to pull up one more point on this whiteboard before we end this first part of the training. But when you do outreach, this is the psychology of somebody who you're doing outreach to. Let's say I'm cold calling, right? Let's say I'm cold calling these loan officers. There's 3 parts of the brain, okay, that you need to worry about for this example. If you're getting negative responses when you're doing outreach, here's why. It's a good thing. I'll explain. But when somebody first gets a call, you're going to engage this first part of the brain, right? We're going to just call it the croc brain. There's a super scientific thing. I'm not going to bore you with it. But basically, somebody, like you get a call and you're like your heartbeat starts beating faster a little bit. It's just a natural reaction. You're like, what the hell? I'm getting a call. Don't know. It's just a natural reaction. But once that happens, right, you activate this croc brain. They're a little bit on edge, but they're going to answer the phone because they're a business owner and that's what they have to do. So they're going to answer the phone. Hello, who's this? And then you're going to be like, hey, what's up? I was wondering if you guys, do loans for veterans. And they're going to be like, yes, we do. Who is this? And then you're going to say, yeah, I was just wondering if you take some of my referrals. Then you're literally going to unlock the second part of the brain. You're going to get an emotional response here. By the way, if you want this script, link in the description right now, get this free script that I'm talking about. But you're going to say that second line in the script. Yeah, I was wondering if you could take my referrals, or I was wondering if you could take my cases for attorneys. I was wondering if you could take my jobs for contractors, right? Whatever you want to say. Then they're going to start to think like, okay, he might be selling something. Now we're going to start to get an emotional response. So if people are pissed off on the phone, good. You need to anticipate that. You need to expect that is going to happen to you. So if you're cold calling and they're like, oh, hell no, I don't buy leads. Hey, real quick, before you hang up, I know you probably get calls like this all the time. I'm not just selling some BS service, okay? I have this referral network of people that need a loan officer, but I don't have anybody to send them to. And just by using a simple rebuttal and expecting that emotional response, you're going to actually unlock the logical part of the brain, right? AKA the neocortex. Won't bore you with it, but basically, if you could just confidently speak to them and say that rebuttal, now they're going to actually think logically and they're going to start to listen to what you're saying, because up until then, they're just going based off of like emotion. They're not logically thinking. So when you say that, hey, yeah, so I have this unique selling point and blah, blah, right? The third line of the script, link in the description. Once you say that, they may be, he's selling something, right? They're not listening. I don't buy leads. Okay, real quick before you hang up, I know you probably get calls. You say that rebuttal the way you're supposed to say it, link in the description. Then they start to think logically and actually listen to what you're saying. So a lot of people roast me when I do my cold call videos. If you check out the channel, those videos, people are roasting me in the comments. They're like, why do you keep repeating yourself? They're not listening to what I'm saying. They hear me, but they're not listening because they're just giving an emotional response. So once I give that rebuttal, then they start listening. Then I repeat it. That way I know I got their attention and they actually listen to what I say. So I want to talk about filling your pipeline. Okay, where is your prospect? This is going to be a little training, right? Once you're doing outreach, you're getting consistent results, right? Think about this. 80% of all sales are made between the 5th and the 12th contact. So the first step of a pipeline, right? Identify and develop a prospect list. Get some interested people in there, right? Send them just an interested email, right? Focus on proper time management to schedule projects. Second thing, filter these leads by asking hard questions and sending appointment reminders. So, once you follow up with them, hey, did you see the email? No, I didn't see it yet. Perfect. That's why I was calling. I just wanted to, see when you had 15 minutes, this week so I could show you more. Okay, perfect. And then you take them that time. Maybe you're in the contracting space and you really need to filter them. Hey, is there any reason why you wouldn't be able to make it to that appointment? Okay, great. I'll see you there. I'll send you some reminders, right? Then when they get to the sales call, learn to close and nurture prospects until you get an answer. Fortune is in the follow-up. That'll be the second part of this training. Then the fourth thing, once you finally get some clients, use those clients and prospects to find other people who need your services. I remember my mentor, Ross Christofoli, he got to 15 clients. He asked them all for a referral, instantly doubled his agency overnight just by asking for referrals with happy clients. So think about that, right? Next time you're doing outreach, how many times are you guys following up? 80% of all sales are made after the 5th and 12th contact. The source is the National Sales Executive Association, so take it up with them if you don't believe it. But in my experience, that is true. Now, I want to show you guys the results of my cold calling case study. This is back in 2020 when I was barely starting my agency. I had absolutely no skill. It was quite literally the worst time in like the entire decade so far to even start a business, right? During the C word, when that was going on. Look at this. 800 dials in November, 137 people answered, 56 people were interested and we sent an email to them. Out of 56 people, we closed a couple deals. We closed almost $8,000 in revenue. The next month, right? Even a worse month for SMMA in Q4, doubled the dials literally, doubled the live answers literally, 62 emails sent. So we cut conversions in half because we started to ask hard questions. We started to understand who's really an interested lead, who's not. And we still ended with $10,200 in the worst month of the worst year of this entire decade. Okay. And that was simply by having a unique selling point and understanding the psychology of the previous slides. The only other thing I was doing at the time was LinkedIn. And this was back when Meet Alfred was a thing. It's definitely not a thing now, or is it? I'm not sure. But We did 137 replies, 7 appointments, 2 deals for $3,000 each. Boom. That was the only other thing I was doing. Highly recommend you guys automate your outreach. You can actually do that, with the snapshot in the mini B.O.S. program as well. But either way. So now what? You guys know what works, and you have proof that it works, right? So once you know your numbers, I recommend you guys do like 300 dials. See how many dials it takes to get to an interested lead, to an appointment. Once you know those numbers, it's like adding a gas pedal to your business. I know how much outreach I need to do to get a lead. I know how many leads it takes to turn into an appointment. I know how many appointments it takes to get a deal. Then you can scale it up, literally. Come up with a plan. How will you reach out to new prospects? How much time are you going to spend this week? All right, and are you actually ready to get new clients? All right, I want to do a quick story time so you guys can see. This is a story of 2 salespeople, okay? And they're on a car lot. And they're both trying to make sure that by Friday, they get enough sales to stay on the team and not get fired. So look at this. Day 1, there's agent number 1. He spent the whole day reading books on sales and watching everyone else. He wanted to be perfect, and he didn't want to mess it up. Okay, agent number 2, on day 1, he knew he had one problem. I need to get customers. So on day 1, he starts approaching customers, and he realizes he's horrible. So he went home that night and Googled a new method of approaching customers on the car lot. So day 2, the first agent, he saw an agent, he got sued for selling defective cars. So he spends the entire day researching all the cars on the lot. He's very worried about getting sued. Meanwhile, agent number 2, he learned his new trick and he got a deal, but he messed up the other 2 very badly. So he went home that night and he just started Googling negotiating because he could approach people, but he just has one problem now. He just needs to negotiate. So he's trying to figure that out now. Day 3, agent number 1 talked to agent number 2, and he realized, oh, so I just need to learn how to negotiate and I can be like you. So he starts to learn how to negotiate all day long. He just starts like studying. Meanwhile, agent number 2 sold 4 freaking cars, and he learned that he can sell even more cars by discounting the leather seats. You see where we're going with this? Day 4, agent number 2 is hella scared. Agent number 1 is hella scared by number 2 because somebody came in and demanded a refund. So he spent all day researching the cars and the packages because he does not want to get a refund. And agent number 2, yeah, he had an angry customer came in, demanded a refund, and he fixed the issue. And he's like, okay, I need to set better expectations, Like, I got a refund that does suck. I got to set better expectations. And then knowing that, he went to sell 6 more freaking cars because he was just worried about that one problem in front of him. So again, just to end it off, right? Agent number 1 on day 5, his manager is pissed. He's like, bro, you need to get a deal today or you're fired. He has no real world experience. He's still scared. He's on the brink of getting fired, studying hypothetical issues he's not even running into. He tries to sell that day, but he just can't. And he gets fired. Agent number 2, though, made a ton of mistakes that week, right? But still, he sold 11 cars, and now he knows how to fix those mistakes. So he gets offered a promotion and a bonus check. Let's go, right? So which agent are you being? And which one do you need to be more like? So guys, now for the hardest part of this entire training, right? It's taking action. I highly recommend you guys take action. Okay, set some goals this week. What do you guys want to do for outreach? How many dials are you going to do? How many SMS? How many cold calls? How many freaking cold DMs? Okay, watch part 2 when you're ready. Do not watch part 2 unless you finish this first. It's not going to make sense. So other than that, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching this training. I'll see you on part 2.